Hi guys, today I want to show you a massive underground space in Japan called Oya Quarry, located close to Tokyo. The enormous man-made caverns with gigantic columns are a museum now, which tourists visit and admire. Oya stone is a type of volcanic tuff that is found in abundance in the Oya area. It's relatively soft and easy to process, thus it had been used to make burial sarcophagi during the Kofun period from over 1500 years ago. Oya's subterranean quarry is covered with layered tool marks that resemble markings found at many other ancient quarries, such as Mount Nokogiri, which I discussed in my previous video. These markings are quite uniform. The layers are pretty much parallel, and between layers there are these slanted tool mark strokes. The markings at the grand-scale quarry of Mount Nokogiri are so regular, parallel, and finely carved that they look like modern machine marks, which raises an important question: whether these uniformed quarry marks were in fact made by prehistoric machines from a lost advanced civilization, and later the quarry mountain was discovered by ancient Japanese and subsequently reused as quarries. So, were these layered markings excavated by hand tools or machinery? In my last video, I presented arguments on both sides. Assume for a moment that Mount Nokogiri was initially quarried by prehistoric machines. Then what about other Japanese quarries, especially the ones that share common markings? What about this impressive Oya underground quarry? Was it also mined by prehistoric machines? The answer is no, because these underground quarried chambers we see here are not ancient at all. Work here began in 1919 and ended in 1986. Hence, this quarry did not derive from the work of a prehistoric culture. The Oya stone in this region has been extracted for over millennia, but the huge underground quarry was created fairly recently and over a period approximately 70 years. Records state that the quarry was dug by pickaxes until the 1950s and then replaced by mechanical machines. Old photos of railroads, outdoor Oya quarries, workers cutting stone with pickaxes, and workers carrying stone blocks are exhibited on the museum's websites. Hand tool stone cutting left layered tool marks, and newer excavation machines left saw marks. From these photos we can see the layered markings at Oya underground quarry were done due to manual labor, not machines. Does that mean sites with similar markings were all created by hand tools, with Mount Nokogiri carved by pickaxes as well? Not necessarily. During my research, I realized that the story behind the Oya subterranean quarry and other Japanese tuff quarries with similar markings actually cast further suspicion on the hand tool creation hypothesis of Mount Nokogiri. And many megalithic sites with special uniform tool marks are still way more likely to be machine-made. Let's get started. Japan is located on a Pacific Ring of Fire, a tectonic belt of volcanoes and earthquakes, which led to the prevalence of tuff stone. Tuff is a volcanic rock formed from compacted and cemented volcanic ash and debris. Mount Nokogiri, Oya, and multiple quarries with similar layered markings are all tuff quarries. Tuff is a relatively soft rock with a Mohs hardness scale of 4 to 6. In comparison, limestone scores 3 to 4. The iron nail has a hardness of 4.5, and the hard rock granite is about 6.5 to 7, with 10 being the hardest material, diamond. Until machinery was introduced in the 1950s, at the Oya underground quarry, stone blocks were extracted by hand. And it's said that a stonemason would swing his pickaxe approximately 4,000 times to cut out a single block of stone, measuring just 18 by 30 by 90 centimeters. The giant space stretches 30 meters tall, which has a fantastical and monumental atmosphere. It takes an incredible amount of work to hollow out these sizable chambers. By the way, Frank Lloyd Wright designed the Imperial Hotel using the Oya stone, which was completed in 1922. The Oya stone has been excavated to make smaller items since ancient times. Some quarries are still in operation today. During the Edo period of early 17th century to mid-19th century, there are multiple records which documented quarry villages and stonecutters in this area. For example, in 1774, a quarry village had 37 houses and a population of 132, 70 men, 61 women, and 1 monk. Please note that not everyone worked in a quarry. Other occupations likely included farmers, blacksmiths, and other professions. As for the number of stonemasons, a record from 1685 indicates 8 stonecutters were ordered by the government to do quarrying business. An 1865 official record documented there were 9 stonecutters in the village. For the restoration of the Awahara village shrine in 1754, it was recorded that the chief ordered 17 stonecutters, 17 people, to prepare the stones for the restoration of the shrine. Payments for these jobs were also written down. Some researchers believe that the number of stonecutters represented only the head of the family, thereby 9 stonecutters meant potentially 9 families worked on the quarry. Even so, it seems that the quarry work back then was not significant, as not many people worked as masons. It wasn't until the later Meiji period in the 19th century that the production and market for Oya stone expanded remarkably when railroads became available for transportation. The Meiji era in Japan extended from 1868 to 1912. The big Oya underground quarry, which is a museum now, started 7 years after the Meiji period. I checked several other tough quarries with the same layered tool marks. As it turns out, they were all mainly excavated during the Meiji era. For instance, the Miyadani Quarry began its work around 1887. The Yabuzuka Quarry had been mined since the mid-Meiji period. The Ikabukuro became a quarry at the end of the Meiji time. The Yenai Stone Quarry had been mined on a smaller scale since the Edo period, and largely increased its production during the Meiji time. These quarries have records on what buildings or projects used their stone. One last example, Sapporo Soft Stone Quarry. The interesting thing is, this quarry was discovered by geologist Thomas Antisel and civil engineer A.G. Warfield in 1871, who were invited to Japan from the United States in the early Meiji period. So, these quarries with similar excavating marks are not ancient. They are the product of the Meiji era. Why did these quarries all pop up and flourish during this particular time frame? The Meiji Restoration is arguably the most important change in the Japanese history. A process of modernization, industrialization, and westernization took over Japan. Radical changes occurred in every area: political, economic, and social aspects. The abolition of the feudal system and all feudal class privileges, the enacting of a constitution, and the formalization of a parliamentary system of government, the formation of a national army, the adoption of universal education, and much more. These crucial changes allowed Japan to become a preeminent power in the Pacific and a major player in the world within a generation. In the late 1860s and early 1870s, factories, telegraph, railroads, and the modern postal system were introduced for the first time in Japan. With their expansion, regional markets were gradually integrated into the national market in many industries, including the Oya stone production. During the modernization wave, overseas designers and Western ideas dominated the architecture of this period, and Western-style buildings were built across the country. As we know, the single most defining characteristic of traditional Japanese architecture is the use of wood. Houses, temples, stores, and municipal buildings were made of wood. Only the emperors and ruling shoguns resided in castles that were mainly built with wood, with stone foundations and moats as defenses. In feudal Japan, stone was not a main construction material, therefore quarries were much smaller in scale. Major stone quarrying only began since the Meiji period, when Japan changed from the Edo isolationist foreign policies to opening and adopting Western techniques and styles, from art, fashion, architecture, to food, philosophy, and literature. The Meiji architecture was categorized by using brick and stone as construction materials instead of the traditional wood. The intention was not only to copy Western structures, but also to prevent fires. A 2021 report, which studied Oya stone projects and townscapes, stated that it's evident that the construction period of Oya stone buildings began with the early Meiji era from the late 19th century. A relatively large number of Oya stone buildings were constructed in the Meiji era. As more stone buildings were desired and constructed, quarrying became the leading industry of some areas. Since tuff is softer, lighter, and easier to excavate and transport, there developed an increasing demand for tuff as construction materials, wherein the flurries of tuff quarries opened. Many such quarries only ceased their excavation after the rise of cement and concrete. On another note, as Japan was going through tremendous industrialization and rapidly absorbing all these new Western technologies, one of the essential materials was iron. Iron was used to make rails, tools, ships, machines, and buildings. The first practical method for mass-producing high-quality steel at reasonable prices was developed in the mid-19th century before the Meiji era. It's very possible that this steel innovation was imported quickly by the Japanese to aid their railway construction, shipbuilding, machine and tool-making industries during the Meiji Restoration. When Japan's iron and steel manufacturing got revolutionized, we can reasonably propose that hand tools used in quarries were upgraded. Let me remind you that the hardnesses of tuff and iron are comparable. Thus, plain iron pickaxes might not be effective to cut tuff or leave continuous striking marks on the tough stone. An iron nail has a hardness of 4.5, while a steel nail is 6.5, which means unlike iron, steel can sufficiently cut tuff. With enhanced harder steel tools, the regular and layered tool marks we see at the Meiji quarries became a reality. Thereby, the mass production of steel could have been a decisive factor in creating the neat markings at these tough quarries. What I'm saying is this. Even though the uniformed layered tool marks at the Oya underground quarry and other Meiji tough quarries were created by hand tools, these markings still resulted from the industrialization of Japan. Without the demand for large quantities of stone, without the improved railway transportation, without the more available and superior steel tools, the skillfulness of masons alone would not have created these many quarries with nice, clear-cut and regular excavating marks, which in obvious ways resemble modern machine marks. Now, I want to circle back to Mount Nokogiri. This is the largest and most impressive quarry of all. Its size might surpass many modern quarries. Where did all this astronomical amount of quarried stone go? Nokogiri is claimed to be quarried since the Edo period, though likely at a very small scale, since its stone was not commissioned for the Edo castle construction, and there was pretty limited demand in general for stone production back then. Like other quarries, the Meiji time should have been the major excavating period for Mount Nokogiri. However, the signature looks of the straight cliffs, which gave the quarry mountain the name of Nokogiri, aka Saw Mountain, was already documented before the Meiji period. On September 8, 1862, British diplomat Ernest Settle wrote in his book that he was on his way to Yokohama to take up his post as interpreter for the British Embassy in Japan when he observed Saw-like Mountain on his right hand from the steamship Lansfield in the Tokyo Bay. If the Quarry Mountain was noticeable from the bay, that means extraordinary quantities of stone had already been excavated before 1862 and left some immense exposed rock cliffs. that indicates the Nokogiri Quarry was in mass production before the Meiji era. Such grand quarry work must have left plenty of written records, right? The Oya quarries have detailed documents on quarry villages' population, numbers of stonemasons, quarry projects, payments, and more since the 17th century. Are there similar records for Mount Nokogiri? Not really. I checked multiple Japanese websites and found the following information. The stones collected from the Nokogiri mountain were mainly used for the port of Yokohama, the port of Yokosuka, and Tokyo Bay fortress. They are also used at the stone walls of City University. The thing is, these notable large constructions, which would have taken a lot of quarried stone, were all built after 1862, after the diplomat writing about seeing the Seoul Mountain. Construction of the Tokyo Bay fortress began in 1880. City University was founded in 1882. The planning of the port of Yokosuka started in 1865. As for the port of Yokohama, one of the first open ports in the 19th century Japan, most of its construction work was carried out from the mid-Meiji, around 1895. In 1853, Commodore Perry of the United States arrived in Japan with 4 ships and strongly demanded the opening of the port. The shogunate and America signed the Treaty of Amity and Commerce in 1858, putting an end to the isolationist system that had lasted for over 200 years. Back then, Yokohama was a small fishing village without any port facilities capable of handling international trade. The Japanese government started developing the modern port facilities during the Meiji era. Eventually, the port of Yokohama grew into one of Japan's leading international trading ports and the front door to Japan. The old harbor line and 2 docks remain till this day. Based on the block-laying styles, researchers have differentiated the stonework done in the mid-Meiji era with the one of the later Showa era. So, based on records and confirmable sources, the Nokogiri Quarry was excavated mostly during the Meiji period. But a British diplomat witnessed the massive quarried mountain before all these major projects happened, which clearly points to an earlier large quarrying work. The tough stone of Nokogiri can be seen on some small local buildings, stone walls, gate posts, garden lanterns, and stoves. While these small projects would not have demanded much stone, definitely not enough to carve out an entire mountain. In outdoor quarries, masons start from the top and dig downwards. For small-scale stone extraction, there is no need to climb to the top of the mountain to quarry and to clear out a pathway to transport quarried blocks down. A huge quarry like Mount Nokogiri would only begin if there were big, well-compensated and continuous contracts. Supply meets demand. This is basic economics. The major contracts of ports and fortresses during the Meiji era came after the mountain had already been quarried into exposed rock cliffs. Then where are the records of the earlier quarry work? Where did those quarried stone go? Are there numerous Edo period buildings constructed with the Nokogiri stone to support the colossal work of reshaping a mountain? I couldn't find any reports showing or documenting substantial pre-Meiji quarry work. Isn't that strange? Japanese have meticulously kept records on the Oya stone villages and their quarry projects during the Edo period. How come the gargantuan Nokogiri Quarry Mountain does not have similar records? That makes me further wonder, who quarried a mountain which is over 300 meters or 1,000 feet high that can be viewed from the Tokyo Bay? If ancient Japanese didn't do much of the work, then who did, and how was the work performed? On a related topic, although the layered and uniformed tool marks at Oya and other tough quarries were done by pickaxes, that does not mean other ancient megalithic sites like Longyo caves were also created by manual labor. I still believe Longyo caves were created by prehistoric machinery for multiple reasons. For instance, Longyo caves are excavated in sandstone a hard rock rated between 6 and 7 on the Mohs scale, which means its hardness is on par with steel tools. The Longyo markings have subtle yet distinct differences from the Japanese tough quarry marks, which counter the assumption of hand tool creation. I may make a video discussing this. Now let's recap. The amazing Oya underground quarry was done in modern time from 1919. There are photos documenting how the layered tool marks were made using pickaxes. The identical markings showed up in multiple late 19th century tough quarries are likely all created by hand tools. Because the hardness of iron is about the same with tuff, iron pickaxes might not be effective to cut tuff or leave continuous and parallel strokes on the stone. I think it's possible that these markings were the product of steel tools. When Japan speedily industrialized and gained the capability of mass-producing steel tools, railroads and factories, along other drastic changes during the Meiji Restoration. However, that still does not explain the mountain-high quarry of Nokogiri, as Nokogiri's cut cliffs existed before the documented major quarry work assigned in the Meiji period. It's still a mystery who carved out that mountain initially. Could it have been an unknown prehistoric civilization? What do you think? If you have any insights, please leave me a comment. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel and share with others. You can also support me on Patreon, which is a monthly charge, or on Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate your support. This is Curious Being. I'm Tina. Thanks for watching and see you next time.